Hello everyone and welcome back to another interview. Today I am joined by the Dein0mite, which some of you may remember from 3-4 years ago when I did my first ever interview with him, and it was a big thing because that's what really kicked everything off these interviews. So it's glad to be back. I wanted to, you know, do things to make it a little bit better because I was just starting things out then and I didn't really know what I was doing. So yeah, I wanted to visit back with you, ask you some better questions in all honesty. So yeah, for those of you who haven't seen the video, I think Dino might be able to talk a little bit about what he does. So
yeah, thank you for having me. There was no way that the Dein0mite was not a pun in what you just said.
oh wait,
It might have been accidental, it might have been intentional, but I'll give you credit for it anyway.
that was totally accidental. Oh my god.
Anyway, yeah, hi. I go by the name Dein0mite. It's spelled kind of weird, with a 0 as well as an EI instead of a Y.
Yeah.
But I'm a musician, a YouTuber, and a pianist by occupation.
Nice.
So I like music and everything related to music. Oh, and I wear sunglasses. I forgot about that part.
Oh yeah, the
I
iconic
wear
trait.
Perpetual sunglasses, yeah.
Specifically orange ones, of course. Can't be anything other than orange.
It can't be anything other than orange. I tried other things, but orange seems to be what's stuck.
Yeah. Some may say it's because you're ginger, others may say because orange is one of the best colors, you know?
It's the branding!
Exactly!
The branding!
Iconic. That's great. But yeah, like I said, I wanted to kind of workshop our original interview that we did oh so long ago, because back then I was telling you this earlier, but really it was just based on just a specific part of your content, aka one of your EPs, which was The Stars Are People, which I still love to this day. But yeah, I just wanted to be able to do this again where I actually ask questions about you rather than something you've made specifically. So I kind of just wanted to be able to give you some time to shine rather than just being hyper focused on just one part of your stuff you make. So yeah, that's kind of the plan, you could say.
I'm excited.
But yeah, I guess with that being said, we can probably hop into the first question. So yeah, a question I like to ask people really every now and again is what inspired you to start YouTube, and why specifically did you choose to do the funny piano meme video things, whatever you want to call them?
I think a lot of it came with the time. I didn't start on YouTube originally. I did start out on TikTok when it first came out, which I know will get plenty of eye rolls, but you have to understand that a good 40% of the people who joined the app joined it ironically at first because it was trendy, and a lot of the joke was to make fun of it because it was a transition from Musical.ly, and I was a part of that. It's kind of deep lore, but my original username wasn't Dein0mite. It was actually pretty anonymous sounding. It was GamerDefender27. I changed it to Dein0mite once it started popping off because I figured that if I wanted to have a rememberable name, then I might as well use the gamer tag that I've gone with for years at this point. So yeah, I started out making the goofy piano videos particularly because, I mean, at the time, memes and specifically PewDiePie was really popular at the time, and the kind of meme reviews and that culture around TikTok was really popular. So I figured, I'd give myself a little challenge. Some of my friends wanted me to upload piano covers, which I did at first. I didn't do funny stuff during my first couple of videos. I was just making anime covers and things like that. But what really stuck was funnily enough, it was a video of me doing Megalovania and making up lyrics that included relevant memes at the time. That was the first thing that blew up. and I believe that was the video where I first had the orange sunglasses. I had like a bunch of different sunglasses, used it as to like meme myself in like video chats and stuff. So it just kind of, it stuck, and that's where the Megalovania origin actually comes from. Is from the fact that like that was like the first thing that blew up, and I was like, oh, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I'm gonna just keep putting it in there.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it seemed to stick, and I enjoyed it. It was just kind of a fun way to make use of an otherwise like classical art that was taken seriously by all angles for me at the time. So it was really liberating to be able to do that. And the funny piano videos was almost like a way for me to like reclaim ownership over the art that I'd been doing for like 13 years at the time.
Yeah, that was very cool. Yeah, I was. If you didn't bring up Megalovania, I was probably gonna like follow up by asking why Megalovania specifically, because that definitely is like your thing, really. It's just sneaking
I
it.
loved that meme so much, and I liked the fact that it just like kept coming up in other memes. Like that was kind of the format of the trope. I was like, oh my god, I can put that in music so easily, and that just be a fun trope to put in there.
Oh,
And then it stuck, and then it became unfunny, and then it became really funny again
yeah.
because it was unfunny. So
Oh yeah.
we kind of like got through that that arc.
Yeah. It's a very cool thing. Yeah. Honestly, that's probably one of the maybe not. I don't know. I feel like that might have been one of the reasons I found your stuff, but again, there's probably a lot of reasons I did. And I mean, it was probably a reason for a lot of people because Funny Skeleton and all that is still very popular to this day, so yeah.
It's a fun hook.
Yeah. It's like an Easter egg in music, really.
Yeah.
It's like a different form of the lick, really, or Buddy Holly.
It's a more sinister lick.
Oh yeah.
Because technically, even though it doesn't feel like it, technically it's more niche.
Mhm. Yeah.
So anyone who does get it is haunted by it.
Yeah. I just find something like the whole like main melody of it is like very bluesy, but was somehow interpreted to be sinister because of the whole like idea of what it's playing, or accompanying more or less.
It's the lore of the boss battle.
Yeah, it is. It's beautiful. Something else. Yeah, kind of going off that, how did you get into songwriting, and what about piano? Like, how did you get into piano as well?
Yeah, I'll start out with piano since chronologically that makes more sense.
Oh, yeah.
My parents like were interested in getting me started into an instrument, but they had me try violin when I was like 3 years old, and like apparently this is the lore that I've heard from them. Apparently I picked up on it just fine, but I just wasn't interested at all. Like if I was made to like practice certain things, I would, but otherwise like I had no incentive to actually like play it. But instead of that, I would always play on the piano that we had at home. We had a little baby grand that was given to my parents for as a wedding gift, and I would play around on it quite a bit. And so they figured, at 6 years old, they were like, well, might as well put him into piano and kind of see what happens. And the fun part about that is like, apparently I like chewed through the beginner books.
Oh wow.
I like basically just hard grinded it, which is really funny. And so it just seemed to be something that I enjoyed doing kind of from the get-go. I had kind of a love-hate relationship with the instrument kind of throughout my middle and high school career as a musician, just because a lot of the times it felt like I was doing it more because I was good at it rather than I like truly enjoyed it. I was always wanting to do other things, but at the same time, like I was reminded by plenty of my mentors that trying to hone a craft does scale long term, and that I'll end up like having a lot of fulfillment in finding the passion behind it.
Hmm.
So I trusted it. I trusted it. It took a little longer than they promised me, but uh like once I reached college, funnily enough, it did come from the YouTube videos, actually. I was able to really find a passion in the
Nice.
beauty of the instrument,
That's
that it's
awesome.
kind of able to replicate arguably more instrumentations than any other instrument. That's kind of like its whole
Oh
purpose.
yeah.
And I think that there's beauty behind that, that there's a lot of power behind what you can do. And even though it's a very accessible instrument, it still has a very high skill ceiling.
Hmm.
And that's just a very beautiful form of expression.
It is. Yeah.
So I've kind of like found more ways to use it than just for replication of things that other people have written. To be clear, like my main background is very classical. It's like classically trained, and it's really only been recently, like the past, I guess, 6 years now, that I've really gotten into other styles around the instrument, like jazz. I mean, even like pop arrangements, like lead sheets, all of that stuff is fairly new. Songwriting. Songwriting was kind of the beginning of me developing like true passion for music, because at this like very classical piano festival, they gave one of the head counselor's brother a chance at doing a seminar, and he did a seminar on music production and like garage band essentially.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Finding out, like, I cannot describe how magical of an experience it was, and I remember it so vividly because it was a 2-day process of finding out that the laptop that I've had for like a couple of years at this point has had like the capability for me to literally make music from my fingertips and like produce songs that I hear on the radio.
Yeah.
Like that epiphany and like finding out how it works like changed the trajectory of my entire thought process of what I wanted to do with music. Because I was like, oh my gosh, I can make entire things. Like I have access to that. And that sparked like true complete passion and enjoyment for the like both the instrument, ironically, for piano, but also just for music in general. It stopped just being a skill.
Yeah.
And so then after, making a bunch of music production songs under a different name during high school, like I I took a songwriting class in my freshman year of college. And that was a crazy experience because it was basically academic incentive for me to work on things that I thought I was doing as an extracurricular that had nothing to do with academics. It was a weird paradigm shift.
I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, and so the fun part is that Lucid Daydreams was the first song with lyrics. No, sorry, the second song with lyrics that I ever wrote. The first one will come out as a part of an album in December, actually.
Okay.
And that's going to be exciting because that's my parents' favorite song
Awesome.
of anything that I've ever made. I haven't been able to one up it for them, unfortunately.
I feel that.
Yeah, it's been really an interesting process ever since because it went from being kind of like a oh, I can write a song to like genuinely being a natural form of expression of how I'm feeling, or like, you know how there's like soundscape or
Oh,
like visual ambience.
Yeah, I do.
The way I like to think of it is making music is a way for me to present my feelingscape, like just like my general feeling about a time in my life. So
Yeah.
it's a very valuable experience.
Yeah, it
And
is.
yeah, creative outlets are beautiful. There's such a useful thing in so many different territories.
I know what you mean because, like, of the whole soundscape thing. Because one of my EPs, like, I wrote it because I just felt like I needed to write some music, like, because I was kind of like going through a bit of a harder time in my life at the time. So I kind of just wanted to write some songs from the heart and kind of just see where that took me. So it kind of like I was able to crank that EP out like in a few weeks because just like I felt like I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted all the songs to be like intertwined, so just like I don't know, it was it is exactly what you were saying. Like just like kind of it's a way to express yourself without words, you know. Well, I mean maybe it'll have lyrics, but like you know, it's
Without just
special.
saying things directly, completely straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Funnily enough, you can much more easily put feelings behind the words if you have music backing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It brings the subconscious into the forefront.
it does. Really impactful. And you just do it so well. It's admirable, honestly.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It's been a process. Trust me. There are certain projects that I wouldn't show to somebody if I had a gun up to my head.
Oh, damn.
But I feel like that's like every artist in general. I'm sure you could agree.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I guess speaking of, what's your personal favorite EP of yours and why?
Oh, that's such a difficult question. I can't stress enough. And with every release that comes out, it becomes an increasingly difficult question
Mm. Yeah.
because I have a special place in my heart for every single one of my releases.
hmm
Are we talking about specifically already released
Oh yeah.
collections? Okay.
Already released, and I probably wouldn't include
Already.
the Ghost Dance one because you know that's a whole remix. But I mean, I guess that's a single, not an EP. But
Yeah, I'm not gonna count singles just because that's just saying, oh, this is my favorite song. So
yeah.
this is difficult. I think overall, I still have to stick with Cosmic Cafe.
Ooh, okay, nice.
I think Cosmic Cafe currently it was a checkpoint for the releases. That was a way to say like, this is the area that we are and that we have been at. Now it's time after this to move somewhere else. Hyperwhat is the expression of we are going someplace else.
I get it.
But I
Nice.
think Cosmic Cafe was kind of a beautiful like jumping point. Also, to be fair, like Daydreamer and Sensitivities do tell a literal story about like location and where you are. So I think that it's just a wonderful groundwork for then traveling somewhere else.
So they're all intertwined, you'd say.
Yes, as literally as I can.
So,
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut for that because that'll be a topic in and of itself. That
but yeah, I guess that kind of like transitions perfectly into the next song. I know I say that whole transition into thing a lot, but I guess it kind of
that
answers
just
it
means
in a
you're a
way.
good interviewer.
I guess. um, but yeah, is there a reason for why your EPs are all cosmic based?
Yes. Two reasons. First of all, I'm very inspired by outer space as a concept, not as a place. I think there's something beautiful in understanding that there are places that we'll never see, that we'll never like be able to go visit, but knowing that it's even there in the first place is very uplifting. For me, it might be like terrifying for other people,
Yeah.
but also I think a lot of message that I want my music to tell is that discovery is more about the feeling and desire of finding more than it is about actually finding things as an end result. Because, hey, what's an adventurer without things that have yet to be discovered? It would be. Their fulfillment isn't in the actual full completion discovery of everything, it's in the fact that they're unknown things. And I find that to be very beautiful. And what better way to explore places than in outer space when it's seemingly endless? I do have to say, why is everything cosmic based? Because it's all the same place. It's not just a theme. It's all within the same location. in the
Okay.
same world.
So I guess with that being said, I don't know if if this is the right title for it, but like since that's the case, do you think you'll expand upon, or are you already expanding upon the lore from The Stars Are People?
When it comes
Oh,
to the lore behind The Stars Are People, I think that EP made it probably the most obvious that there was lore to begin with. But yes, there is overarching lore for every single one of my releases under the name Dino. It's all connected, it is all the same story.
so would you say we would have to look deeply into like the instrumentation to figure anything out, or is it
I
different?
mean, half of it is looking at the album art.
Oh, I guess yeah, that's true.
The album art is able to tell a more clear visual story of what exactly is going on, and I've kind of made it that way intentionally because some of it feels not necessarily like non-chronological,
Mhm.
but a lot of it feels a little bit disjunctive.
Gotcha.
And that's okay because there are certain pieces of information that aren't out yet intentionally, and there are certain back references that I've done that we don't know that they're back references until the actual song is released. For example, Daydreamer is in its entirety a remix of other songs that I've made, but we haven't heard every song that it's a remix of.
Gotcha. That's very creative. Wow.
It's fun. Also, to be fair, half of Daydreamer was like, I have no idea what lyrics I'm going to add. I'm just going to take from this. And then I was like, oh, this actually works really well because it's foreshadowing.
Nice.
I'm really big on telling stories, and I'm really big on like presenting pieces of puzzles and having like one piece be the thing that brings it all together. I've always been a sucker for that in like movies, in books, in video games, all of that. So it's something that I want to try to simulate with a series of releases.
Just a question. So, did the lore technically start with the Stars Are People, or did it start like in Lucid Daydreams?
Lucid Daydreams is the start of it.
Okay, gotcha. And was that
Everything is connected, and the Lucid Daydreams is probably the most literal retelling of the story as a prologue. Yeah.
interesting? That's some food for thought right there. Well, I guess with that being said, what are some of your favorite genres to listen to and or compose?
That's a good question. Because that answer is going to change like every month.
Mood.
I just I have an active desire to try to like latch on to the feelings that certain genres of music attempts to create. And because of that, I usually end up listening to genres because I like the feeling it invokes at the time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it helps expand my emotional palette and my emotional ear, which then I can use to compose and to produce. So a lot of it's almost like not exactly research, but I go through phases. Previously, if you would have asked me a month ago, or sorry, if you would have asked me 2 months ago, I would have said that my phase was breakcore
Oh, nice.
and like soft breakcore, liquid drum and bass, things like that. Just because I really like the almost static existentialism behind
Ooh, yeah.
the piece. I think it's beautiful that it goes almost at such a high BPM that it feels smooth.
Yeah.
I think that's such a cool juxtaposition of tempo and beat. It's beautiful. I also got into like hyperpop like about a month ago, and I was kind of like listening through that. Again, I like the surrealism of that genre and how a lot of it is very visceral. I think that there's only so much sensitivity you can have without the presence of like raw texture to compare it to. And I like that hyperpop is almost like a response to that sensitivity. I love it. Recently, I've kind of been looking at more eclectic stuff, combinations between the three, but also there's a genre that it's been my guilty pleasure. and
Ooh.
it's a genre called Daryacore.
Oh,
It's
interesting.
like if hyperpop took like 15 shots of espresso
Oh
and
wow.
like fell asleep in a mud ditch. Like it is the most filthy music you could possibly listen to, and by filthy, to be clear, I mean like super oversaturated. They sample as many like funny pop references and like cultural references as possible. It's very fun music to listen to because it doesn't take itself seriously, but it
Nice.
still has the raw feeling of hyperpop.
Mm,
And that's such a fun combination.
nice. So it
Yeah.
kind of sounds like it's like industrial meets breakcore meets experimental almost. I mean, I could be wrong, but
Yeah. And it's very electronic,
mm,
but
okay.
in a way that like isn't quite EDM.
Yeah.
Like EDM is kind of careful in comparison. And I don't know, there's something that I like about that. If you would have shown that type of music to me like a year ago, I would have hated it.
Mm,
But I think I'm at a time in my life right now where I appreciate it. And that's great.
nice. Yeah. I guess music is one big phase thing. So yeah, I guess kind of transitioning into more non-music things in a way. How did you come up with your? Well, I guess these are kind of more like based on your YouTube channel and whatnot. But how did you come up with your music-based cooking series?
I gave this so much thought, and I still can't tell you where the idea came from.
It was a long night.
Like, I remember seeing a guy named Chime, he's a producer, and another producer, his name is Dein0mite,
Mm,
doing like their own like cooking thing, but I cannot remember for the life of me if I saw that video before or after coming up with the idea.
mm,
So I'm not really sure. Maybe one of my friends was like, "Hey, you should totally do like a cooking show," as like a joke, and I was like, "Wow, that's actually kind of a banger idea."
yeah.
But either way, I think a part of the reason why I ended up following through with it was because it was kind of a fun little detour from when I was uploading piano videos really consistently,
Mm,
and it was just kind of like a fresh take on the Dynamite persona.
mm, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a little bit of comedy, and it allowed me to actually use my voice more
Mm,
and talk more, which is nice for a musician when all they're
yeah.
doing is playing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Yeah, it's kind of like a. I know a lot of people, especially like in like kind of just like music related things, like who do it for like entertainment purposes on like platforms like YouTube or like TikTok or any of those. Like you
Right,
kind of
yeah.
get like you kind of bury yourself into like a ditch almost of like just doing the same thing. So like it's hard to like get back out after a certain point. So like I know one of my friends, Real Soul G, he made a second channel like just so that like he can just upload things that he wants to upload, and still kind of
Yeah,
it's still kind of music based, but it's really just a lot of stuff that he wants to do, like talking about stuff that he's interested in. Is it?
right.
And I mean, I kind of do the same thing, in a similar way, I guess. Um, so yeah, it's kind of being in like the music side of YouTube, kind of just like you get to a point where like people expect a similar thing, so
Right.
you kind of need that outlet to do other things that aren't exactly music, or at least like different enough in terms of music to be refreshing and gives you life, so that you can keep on doing the things that is kind of, I guess you could say, expected from you in a way. So
Right, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it is a dance between what your viewers expect you to upload and like what you want to upload. I'm
mhm.
sure you can relate.
Yeah.
And that's like a very sensitive dance as well.
Hmm.
Far too many people experience that kind of burnout from just like feeling like they're um, a prisoner to the expectations of their fan base.
Yeah.
And I definitely felt that myself over the past few years.
Hmm.
and I think it comes with high expectations and like high aspirations for what I think where a brand can go. But yeah, cooking videos, anything that's like not exactly to the conventional usual content is such a nice reset. It's also a fun palate cleanser for viewers.
Yeah,
Like a new context.
it is, yeah. I think just also something that doesn't exactly help with the whole idea of all that, like, same stuff is that, I mean, some people are like, they just don't care, which, like, honestly, power to them, you know? Like, is a good, it's a healthy thing to do, but, like, I know, like, it's easy to, like, since the algorithm's a big, scary thing, it, like,
Right.
kind of forces people to want to consistently keep up, like, uploading videos and all that. So it just really hammers in the whole idea of, oh, I gotta keep on uploading the same type of stuff on a consistent schedule to make sure people don't leave, you know?
Yeah.
It's not, it gets to the point where it's like, what am I doing, man? But it's just finding a balance, really. Like,
Yeah.
and like I said, like, if you're able to find a way to where you don't have to upload all the time and still have, like, people tune in, like, and have good numbers and all that, if that's what you're looking for. It's like,
Right.
that's a plus, really. But yeah, I guess moving on. What sparked your obsession with Blurret?
You're asking me this as if Blurret was my choice, and
Oh,
it 100% was not.
oh,
That whole thing was not, like, that was my niche fan base's whole deal. They made that up. Like,
oh,
Blurred was a concept that did not stem originally from my channel. It was kind of a beautiful mutation of the Furret Megalovania video. That's kind of, I guess, the origin, where they took the blue color scheme of stands and they applied it to the Furret, and they called it Blurret.
oh,
And then it just kind of took off from there.
oh.
Then everybody started changing their username to Blurret and used the profile image, again, that I did not make. And that just became a whole inside joke in the server and in the entire community. So I was like, you know what? I'll just lean into this. It's fun. I like this idea.
Man.
So then it kind of just became a staple. And it's a fun staple. My friends like to make fun of me because they call me a half furry for it.
Oh, wow.
But
Man.
I mean, first of all, you know, what's inherently wrong with furries, first of all, and also, bruh, I rock that onesie like no
Yeah.
one's business. I do not care. Like, that is the most comfortable article of clothing I have in my wardrobe
Dang, okay.
by far. It's unbelievably comfortable.
Nice.
It's
Yeah.
like a custom onesie.
Oh, yeah.
It is a custom onesie. It's literally a custom onesie.
Yeah. It's perfect, especially for sleeping. Respect to you for leaning into the whole joke of it, you know? It's fun to do that. Fun to, you know, feed the fire, per se.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that comes to a point where a brand that I'm making, when it gets taken out of my hands, then I just get to be a fan of the brand along with everyone else.
Oh, yeah, that's really true.
That is so much fun because then it puts myself and the viewers of the brand like on an equal playing ground. I do not like power dynamics. That's something that I've expressed multiple times in other like situations. Like, I don't like teacher student like power dynamics. I don't necessarily like content creator fan power dynamics. I think that everybody can look each other eye to eye and we all have something to learn from everyone else. And so being able to kind of like stand beside the people who are a fan of the brands and be able to kind of like enjoy that along with them is really rewarding.
Definitely. That's awesome. It really is. Yeah, we kind of talked about this before we started recording, but, well, I get kind of, in a way, but, why did you decide to make, orange sunglasses your iconic feature?
Yeah, that was also something that just kind of happened
Yeah.
by luck because I had probably 4 or 5 different colored pairs of sunglasses, and I kind of switched between all of them. And so when I started doing the piano videos, I alternated colors because I figured it was just the sunglasses that made the brand.
Hmm.
And when the Megalovania and Smash Mouth All-Star videos, when they both blew up, I realized I was wearing orange sunglasses in both of them. And I kind of like realized maybe I should just stick with one color, and it just happens to match the color of my hair. So it's a tritone color brand. And I'm like, oh, that's actually really good for marketing.
Hmm.
So I kind of kept it, and it became a staple. I lost the original pair, but
No.
I know I lost it on a plane, by the way.
Oh, dang.
I felt so dumb.
Darn.
But I still have 3 other pairs, and I also know the manufacturer who makes them. So
Oh, wow.
when merch starts coming out, albeit once I start uploading again consistently,
Oof.
probably,
Maybe.
then that'll happen.
I remember, I don't know where they are now. I forget. They might be in like a drawer or something somewhere else, but I remember getting a pair of sunglasses like yours, but instead of orange, they're like lime green, because like, you know what? I respect the vibe. So I just, one day I was like, you know what? I want sunglasses that are green, then we can be a duo or something. I don't know what I was thinking, but it was like,
Sunglasses are such an iconic article of accessories.
mhm.
I don't know, there's something that just works about them.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Also, like the fact that, and this is kind of my motto, is that anyone can wear the glasses.
Nice.
Like technically, the spirit of that kind of like almost mysterious but kind of mischievous like music making is something that other people have. Like just like put on the sunglasses and play some goofy stuff.
It's actually really cool, man. Like, honestly. I like that idea. It's wholesome.
Of course.
Very
And building community is such an underrated thing. And to be fair, the Dein0mite community has got to be one of the most wholesome locations of the internet I have ever witnessed. And it's such a
Awesome.
privilege. The hate comments on my videos are compliments.
Oh my gosh,
There are
wow.
people accusing my videos of getting sped up. Like,
Oh wow.
that's as bad as it gets.
Dang.
Whoa! We are Kai Cenat's fans. What is going on?
Yeah. Man. That's awesome.
I'm okay with my little quarter of the internet
Mhm.
and the adjacent areas. It's
Yeah.
a really fun thing.
Yeah. It's really cool. Like, I mean, I can't really think of many other people who do what you do. Like, I mean, I think his name's like Joe Jenkins, who kind of does this similar idea or something. Like, I forget if that's his actual name or like.
Yeah, Joe Jenkins.
Okay. Yeah.
He does more like public interaction, which
Yeah.
I have so much respect for.
Hmm. But yeah, like, other than him, I really can't think of anyone else who really does exactly what you do. Because, I mean, but still at the same time, Joe and you, like, literally, like you said, they're different. Because it's more like a social experiment, per se.
Mhm.
While you're just, you know, lurking in, lurking in, well, not your basement, but in the piano practice rooms, doing your
In
thing.
the elevator.
Yeah. Honestly, so cool. But yeah. Such a unique thing. Because it's, like, I mean, sure, there's a lot of, like, piano content on YouTube. Like, sure, like, but, like, I mean, there's, like, piano tutorials, sure. Like, you know, and then there's, like, just people playing the piano for fun, but it's more serious, you know. It's,
Right.
you know. So kind of having, I do think it's really inspirational to have people like you who play the piano and make it look fun, it's really, I would venture to say that it's kind of important to have that content on the platform, because that'll inspire people to be like, wow, look at how much fun he's having. I kind of want to do that myself, you know? It's kind of like, it would inspire, like, more people to do that type of stuff, which is really cool, you know?
I 100% agree with you. And that's something that's pretty innate to creating content that's, like, true to you. Is finding niches that don't exist that you wish you could have seen, that you wish you could see more of. Because 9 times out of 10, you're not the only one who feels that way. And at least for me personally, the closest that I found to people creating the kind of content that I wanted to see more of was Frank and Zach piano duets.
Oh, yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Funnily enough, their Megalovania piano duet was probably one of the biggest Kickstarters for me wanting to do something like that in the first place.
Oh, wow. Nice.
But I think that there is a vacancy. Well, there are people who do covers. And, like, really good covers, very serious covers.
Yeah.
And there are people who do music for fun, albeit for other purposes. But most of the time, the, like, actual quality of the arrangements does deteriorate a little bit, depending on, like, the humor-esque of the content.
Yeah.
And I've realized, wow, there aren't a lot of, like, really good arrangers who don't take themselves seriously.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to see that. I want to see, like, and I'm by no way comparing myself to the GOAT, but this is kind of a similar attitude that I wanted to approach the industry with. I was like, we need, like, almost a Michael Reeves of piano.
Oh, yeah.
Like, somebody who does not care.
Yeah.
Like, has a good time, but is also, like, proficient at what they do.
Definitely, yeah.
And I think that's kind of a fun thing of, like, not taking yourself seriously, having a persona, having, like goofy sunglasses where you're looking at the camera, like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But then still also having merit to back that up is a beautiful combination, because that the humor hooks people and the quality keeps people.
Yeah. I will say, like, I know Sheet Music Boss is probably, like, one of the most well-known, like, MIDI piano tutorial, like, creators on the platform. I know, like, for the most part, like, they do, like, take it, like, I guess, quote-unquote, seriously when they're doing, like, regular, per se, tutorials, but, like, they know how to, like, I like seeing them sprinkle in, like, funny little videos, like, I mean, sure, there's Rushy, but, like, I remember a more recent one was, like, I think it was, like, classical pieces, if they had Riz or something like that. Like, those little things, like, I like seeing them sprinkle.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. Because it gives life to the creator, or, like, creator, especially when it, like, is that, where it's, like, you're just seeing MIDI on the screen, not, like, Andrew and Sam, you know?
Right,
So, it's, like, it gives life to them. And I think I probably have a video somewhere on my channel to kind of talking about that, but, like, when there's, like, it's easy to forget, like, there's real living people behind some content when, like, they're not the main focus, or when they're not on screen, you know, like, so kind of just, like, remembering that is, like, wow, like, there's people who are putting so much love and effort into these things, and it's painfully easy to forget that sometimes. I do forget that myself sometimes. I'm not gonna say that I don't. So it's like it's really nice to look back at that and be like, dang, that's really cool, you know? It's really cool.
I mean, a lot of the people enjoying things usually aren't loud about it. A lot of the times, or they're not ever nearly as loud as the people who complain about it.
Yeah.
And so, it creates a miscommunication, or rather, like a misrepresentation of what something's actually like. Massive respect to Sheet Music Boss.
Oh yeah.
I love their content.
Me too.
Uh,
Yeah.
Very, very, very creative, and also I particularly respect their consistency because
Yeah.
that's something I don't. Uh,
Yeah. I know recently they talked about kind of like slowing down uploads, but like previously they were uploading what like 7 times a week. Like the fact they blow my mind that they've been keeping that up for literal years. 365 videos a year, if not maybe a little bit more, who knows? Like, the fact that they can upload such accurate covers on such a consistent schedule is just like,
yeah,
I can't help but to have so much respect for what they do. It's so cool. Like, and they're real pianists, they're real musicians who know how to play. So sure that might help, but like, again, that's still impressive, and it's nice to know that they're like, well, going back to the whole idea, but like they're real people with real talents who can actually play the piano rather than just people who are like sitting behind a computer and being like, all right, what cover are you doing today?
right,
And
yeah,
it also really makes it nice that they're kind of like a duo rather than just one dude who makes all the covers. Just the whole like duo mentality is just like it's wholesome that like it's like two friends I think who are like kind of just in this like journey together, kind of showing their love for music through a kind of niche thingy that you can find on YouTube. It's just really nice, but yeah, that's just me glazing up SMB real quick.
yeah. It's sometimes easy to forget that there are people, not robots, behind the things that we do, like
Yeah.
full people with lives.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. And I think kind of you said this kind of earlier, but like just I know I'm definitely not using the right terminology that you did specifically, but like the idea of like just like bringing life to what you do and like taking things not super seriously is something I try to do with like when I like we kind of I mean not to compare myself because we make quite different videos, but like we both like do covers of music. So like I mean for me I do try to get like accurate covers, but I do like having fun with it. Um
Mm-hmm.
but like usually like how I do it is like I like just uh kind of just like so what I use you can set the title to whatever you want for the most part. So I just like if I know what like the song is about, which like 99% of the time I do, I kind of just like having fun with it, being like saying like stupid things and putting them as the title of the song or songs sometimes. Kind of just
Yeah,
giving that life to the song and kind of being like, "Hi, I'm kind of here," except you don't need to worry about that. Kind of. Music is was invented oh so many centuries ago for fun. It was to bring people together and to just bring people together and have a good time and relax for the most part.
bars.
Measures even. With that being said, I have one final question for you, and this is one that I always love to ask people. But what advice would you give to aspiring content creators and/or musicians?
I think the worst thing that you can do for yourself as either a content creator, musician, or creative in general is to, one, not do anything, and two, feel that the space that your creative mind fills is not worthy of filling that space. I think that the world will make as much space as you ask from it, and like half of the battle of getting through things like imposter syndrome, burnout, lack of inspiration is looking past the thinking stage and just going and doing it as much as possible. Because I can confirm that the majority of creatives like psych themselves out during the thinking phase. Because thinking it's a great thing. It's a wonderful thing to use in doses. But if that's the majority of the planning, it takes away from the beauty of discovering things in the moment that you may just miss altogether by psyching yourself out and giving up without even starting. The act of acting is so important for any type of form of expression because you can think about what to do for an infinite amount of time without doing it. And results only come from the action of doing it. I know I sound like Shia LaBeouf saying like just do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, most of us think a lot about things, and that's not a problem, but it can often be used as a crutch and as a way for us to sit in our own heads rather than bring our thoughts out in the world around us. So yeah, I mean, literally my advice is just do it. Like, yes, it'll work. If it doesn't, oh no, you learn things. And you never learn anything by thinking about it. You learn by messing up or by not doing something and then remembering that you should. And like learning without applying is just like glorified philosophy. And as much as philosophy is an art, art is not inherently philosophy. It is an action. So, yeah, just do it! Make your dreams come true!
And then other things about tomorrow, yesterday you said tomorrow, and then yes.
Literally, yesterday you said tomorrow. Like, just like putting that into context. Like, you were thinking about it yesterday. Today, you're thinking about it, and you'll say you'll do it the next day. But there's no way to keep that promise if tomorrow will always be in front of you. So, make the promise by just like almost cutting your brain off from your body and just starting. And if you started and you can't continue, turn off your brain and continue. There are far too many like pieces of advice and like inspiration that I'd want to give and too little time to say it. I'm a professor at the university that I go to, and the class that I'm a professor for is the undergraduate senior capstone project for all the music majors. So I have my own pod of people that I get to mentor for very open-ended projects, mind you. These are things that literally allow students to pretty much do whatever they want to, like to a limit, obviously, but it's essentially academic incentive to do projects that they wouldn't have a chance to do for academic credit otherwise.
Okay.
It's a very fulfilling experience as a teacher. It's a very fulfilling experience as a student if you so much as take advantage of the class. The majority of the roadblocks that my students have come across have been self-made roadblocks.
Oh, wow.
Things like, I want to reach out to this person. I ask them, like, what? And they're like, because I feel like they'd be a massive asset to this project. And I'm like, okay, are you going to? And they're like, no. Why? Because other people are probably occupying their time and they probably won't respond. My response to that is always the same. If you think that, everyone else thinks that too. So nobody is reaching out to this person, to this person or organization or company. And because of that, you actually have a much more likely chance of asking and actually getting a response, if not a confirmation that they can help you. Because people are much more generous than you can ever imagine if you kind of develop the guts to go out and ask. So you don't need permission from the world to go and do those things. And a lot of the times, if you ask, the world will provide. That's just kind of getting through those first couple of nerves that serve as weird mental roadblocks. It's hard to get through that, genuinely. I can sympathize with that.
Yeah. It's really just like the whole, like, saying, like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, really.
Exactly.
Yeah. And, I mean, with this, like, it, like, to kind of relate it back to this in a way, kind of like, you know, like I there's no way I would be able to interview anyone if I never reached out to anyone, you know? Like
Right.
if I never
Yeah.
was like, "Yo, do you want to redo our interview from oh so long ago?" Like if I never asked, you would have never it's not like you would have come up to me and be like, "Hey, let's redo this interview," because I mean, it's not like this.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, actually, funny story. Once I was asked if someone asked me if they would want to do an interview where I interviewed them, but you know, I mean, I did it because like I know of them and they're pretty big,
Hmm.
but like usually for the most part, like that doesn't happen. You have to be the one who initiates the whole thing, like to be like it's because you know it's like people aren't really gonna be like I said, they're not gonna reach out to you because they're like, oh please interview me, please do that, you know, because a lot of the
Right.
time you're interviewing someone because you are interested in what they do or interested just in like just their existence, I guess you could say, you know.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's like so it's like it's not you can't expect people who you want to interview in this case, since we're going with the whole example. You can't expect the people you want to interview to reach out to you because they don't know you want to interview them. So you kind of just you have to make your move. And so what if they never get back to you? Because I mean, let's be real. A lot of the people you'd want to interview are probably at least somewhat popular, so they probably get a lot of DMs or whatever. So I was like, you know, I mean, it's just don't go into it, I guess, expecting like 100% success rate, but just know that you need to go into it knowing that you're not gonna get every single one. And again, going back to the saying, if you just don't try, you're not gonna get any interviews, you know. So
Exactly. And you'd be surprised at how many you do get. That might be unexpected.
yeah,
That's the
honestly,
fun part. You never get the offers from the people that you expect to get the offers from a lot of the times.
hmm
A lot of it comes from like happenstance. And so it's kind of just re-rolling those odds as much as you can.
yeah, very true. So yeah, that would be the final question. So yeah, it was really I'm really glad I was able to remake this interview with you because I it's been like ages since like we did ours like 3 almost 4 years ago, and
Yeah, it really has.
that's when that was literally my first ever interview I did. Like I was telling you this, I didn't really know fully what I was doing, I guess.
Hmm.
So it was kind of a learning experience, that one. So I felt like you could have used a better set of questions. So so I wanted to, you know, I guess remake it per se.
Oh,
So
well, I
yeah,
really appreciate you reaching out.
yeah,
It's
of
always
course.
really fun to have conversations about these kinds of topics.
It is.
And I'm glad you reached out again.
Of course. Yeah. I never know if I if you like someone like you would see it because like I know like people are always busy with something in life, so it's always a question of if, I guess. So I
Yeah,
appreciate that you are willing to make time.
of course. I'm more than happy to.
But yeah, again, thank you, and thank you to everyone watching. Um, make sure to watch Dynamite because he's cool. Because I'm assuming a lot of you probably like music, and if you like Undertale, you probably will like the little Megalovania gags he does in a lot of his piano stuff. So yeah, yeah. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all later. See ya.